Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. We've got over 400 audios for you to check out. A variety of topics. Hopefully, you find something you like, and you could subscribe, like, comment. We want to add to giving to charity this year, and the only way to do that, or a way to do that, is to bolster the numbers on this channel. Please subscribe, like, comment below if that's something you'd like to help us do. Doesn't cost you anything, but and if you're kind of dealing with the stressors on your mental health because of COVID and all the challenges in the last year, certainly reaching out for help can be helpful. I do business, life, relationship, and entertainment coaching. And if there's something in there that would help you, please feel free to reach out. There's two ways to do that. Number one is at PO Perception on Twitter. Number two is the website that's available through the About Me section of this page. But today we're going to talk about signs that your mental health might be eroding. So the first one is no exercise. When you become lethargic, when your body begins to expect you to do very little, if aught nothing, you are starting to disengage. And that's also tied to things like self-care and things like, ultimately just doing daily things, whether it's eating, sleeping, exercising, getting up and walking the dog, checking in with people that matter to you. All of these put together are signs of an erosion of mental health. But it begins with physical motion. Of course, we all have days where we want to grab a chicken sandwich and sit on the couch and watch Netflix or Hulu. But if that becomes a daily occurrence, a weekly occurrence, and something that becomes your regular state of being, there's a chance there's a problem. Next is less social contact. Now, this is a tricky one, certainly during a pandemic, because, well, hey, it's hard to get out to see people. But that doesn't mean we can't call them, doesn't mean we can't email them, doesn't mean we can't Skype them, doesn't mean we can't get in contact with them in another form. And if you notice that you are just not inspired to connect with other people, and it's hard to find that inspiration to be connected, that's a sign that your mental health is beginning to erode. Now, it might be that you don't want the lecture that's going to come with, hey, how are you? It also might be you don't have anything to say. But at the end of the day, when you begin to look at healthy versus non-healthy emotional reactives, social interaction is part of the reason that humans as animals who have reason and a desire to connect are here on the planet. And so if that begins to fall away, that's a potential problem for almost any person. The next is an increase in physical pain. The pain sensors that deal with emotional reception, that is, dealing with emotional regulation, and that deal with physical pain, often overlap in the brain neuronically and from a from a health standpoint. So that means that, in fact, it's entirely possible to have a situation where, as your emotional health with panic or depression or suicidal ideation or anxiety begins to increase, so too will your physical pain. Basically, the energy of the upset, the fight or flight syndrome, and the change in hormones and all of that needs to go somewhere. And the way it goes is maybe into your joints, into your bones, into pre-existing injuries. I know that when I ended up in a nursing facility almost almost 2.5 years ago now, that began because I wasn't taking entire proper care of myself, and I was putting too much on my plate and not paying attention to the pain signals that had been building up in me for a couple of years. I had responsibilities, and unfortunately I wasn't receiving the help I needed in that regard with those responsibilities. It's also my fault because I didn't ask for it properly. But at the end of the day, my pain increased and my body was saying, we can't do much more of this, and then I finally crashed. The next is you become more forgetful. Now, forgetful could be of conversations, of shopping lists, of any number of things, and it doesn't mean that we can't be forgetful. Obviously, more than ever before in human history, I think we have things that can distract us more than ever before in our lives, but when we are overwhelmed, when we are overstressed, when we are not going in a positive direction with something, we begin to forget. And the forgetting is because, remember, the human brain can only attach to about 5 to 7 things at any given moment. So what that means is when you're attached to the negativity or the overwhelm of anxiety, panic, frustration, depression, and all the things that come with that, you're going to make it most likely harder to find a balance point, and therefore your mind is going to be shooting off rockets in directions of trying to figure out where you're going to go, what you're going to do next, what needs to happen, and all of that. Um, and so, memory loss is a sign of overwhelm. So that's that. And then ultimately, that can become worse as someone doesn't get the treatment they need or the treatment that would be best for them. And every person's treatment plan is different when it comes to those emotional overwhelms. But the next thing that we've got to look at here is ultimately uh, the inability to regulate emotions. So if you find that you're getting sad all of a sudden out of nowhere, angry all of a sudden out of nowhere, you're withdrawn. The suicidal ideation takes over. The anger with other people or situations takes over, or you begin to feel like you can't ever find a sense of balance in how you're feeling throughout the day, this can be a sign that your brain is shutting down and the overwhelm is becoming too much. The last one is issues with self-worth. So if you constantly are beating up on yourself, blaming yourself for previous events, blaming yourself for things that might go wrong, all of these are indications that you are eroding in mental health. Certainly, if you're having that issue, reach out to a counselor, a psychologist, psychiatrist, a coach, a friend, whatever you need. It doesn't really matter who you reach out to. It just matters that you're reaching out. And the quicker you do that, the less long-term problems that you're likely to have. So in any event, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.